Hello, welcome back to Halftime TV. Norando Brown here saying we appreciate the love and the support, and I trust all our viewers and subscribers have been keeping safe throughout this really torrid time that we've experienced for the past 3 or 4 months. Today I'll be discussing takeaways from the 2019-2020 English Premier League season. Let's jump right into it. My first takeaway: Liverpool lifting the title after 30 years. Liverpool weren't exceptional. They were great throughout the season. Nonetheless, will I put them among my teams of greats? Probably not, but they deserve credit for what they did throughout the season, and they won the title with roughly 5 or 6 games to spare. So hats off to Liverpool. I think Jurgen Klopp left his mark on this team. He came in, he saw some things that needed to be fixed. He went out, he did a bit of shopping, and in the end, he got them fixed. Liverpool, we saw you guys move from strength to strength. I think the first season, you went to the Champions League final. The second season, you won the Champions League. And now, last season, you guys are English League champions. So I think you have something good going on. Jurgen Klopp will probably need a bit of depth in his squad because they weren't exceptional this season. Had it not been for Mane leaving it late on a number of occasions, I think they would have struggled. So it's good to have these players in your squad who can come up chumps when you need them the most, because Mohamed Salah, by his standards, it was an average season because he had set the bar so high. So hats off to Liverpool. They're my first takeaway from the 2019-2020 season. My second takeaway: video assistance referee. I know this has been in the headlines week in, week out, and some have grown tired of talking about it, but I haven't. I wrote an article about it as well in the Western Mirror. You can check it out when you have the time. I think it was a while back. But my sentiments haven't changed. Video assistance referee, they played a significant role in determining who won the English Premier League, who finished where, and I think they did more of the refereeing than the referees actually did, and that's somewhat suspect because, as the name states, it is video assistance referee, so they should be assisting the referees instead of refereeing the games holistically. So going into next season, I expect referees to be going over to the monitors to actually see what's happening, because it's not a case where most of these decisions are black and white. There's sometimes a bit of gray in there as well. So we need to take this into consideration, and hopefully next season we'll see them make that adjustment. I think Brighton and Hove Albion, they were the major benefactors of this. And it's just one of those things. Video assistance referee, they made a significant impact on this season, in my opinion. All right, my third pointer: 33. Jamie Vardy, at 33 years old, still racking in the goals. He retired from international football a few months ago, and yet it's somewhat fascinating because a few years ago, not even a few years, 10 years ago, Jamie Vardy was working in a factory, and he went through the ranks, right? He went through the ranks, he came up, he won the English Premier League with Leicester, and now we see that same player going on to cop the Golden Boot in the most watched and the most difficult league in the world. So hats off to you, Jamie Vardy. I think you're a true character, and you basically epitomize what the Leicester City squad is about. And had it not been for the injuries that Leicester City had throughout the season, they probably would have been in the Champions League, but that's a debate for another day. All right, my fourth pointer is former players coming up chumps. Now, we had 3 former players managing their respective clubs in the English Premier League this season. We had Frank Lampard, we had Mikel Arteta, and we had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in at the back end of last season. He did somewhat okay in the Champions League with Manchester United. He went out in summer, he purchased a few players, and then he came back to the English Premier League for his first full season. In my opinion, Solskjaer had an okay season. Manchester United fans were going crazy, saying, okay, it was a great season because he came from 12th place and ended up finishing 3rd. well, you're Manchester United. That's where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be in 12th place to begin with. So I won't read too much into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finishing third, because at the end of the day, they still finished with 66 points, which is the same return last season. So basically nothing has changed. We can argue that it was a season with average teams. Most of the bigger clubs weren't at their best, but as I said, that's a discussion for another day. Mikel Arteta, he brought through some youngsters, Bukayo Saka. We have Gabriel Martinelli, a great talent as well. I'm looking forward to these players going into next season, and I trust they will be good, because we can see the raw material there, and given time to work with them, I trust I won't be disappointed either. Frank Lampard, the same thing at Chelsea. He brought in Mason Mount, he brought in Fikayo Tomori, and these two players were at Derby County with him. They came in, they did well. Tomori got injured towards the back end of the season and inherited a squad that had just lost their best player in Eden Hazard, and he did what he could with them, and in the end he finished 4th place. So hats off to you, Frank Lampard. I don't think any of the pundits, including myself, had you to finish in the top 4. So I think you proved all the doubters wrong, and with the squad you had, don't get me wrong, Chelsea has had remarkable players, and they continue to acquire remarkable players. So it's no surprise that they finished in the top 4, but it's always difficult when you're losing your best player, and then the transition with a new coach. Lampard didn't have much experience. I think he only had 1 year coaching experience prior to Chelsea, and everyone knows the Chelsea job is a really, really big job. So with all the pressures coming from outsiders, the pressures coming from the persons inside the club as well, I think Lampard had a good season, but the real work will begin next season. Reason being, Frank Lampard already went out and he purchased Timo Werner, he purchased Hakim Ziyech, and there is rumors coming in of him getting Kai Havertz. So having acquired these 3 top quality players, the expectations will rise, and as a result, he will need to up his game going into the next season. Chelsea, I think they gave up 59 goals, and that is the most any team in the top half of the table. Chelsea Football Club has always been known for their defensive prowess, and their defense was non-existent this season. So Frank Lampard needs to look into that. I know you can always outscore your opponents, but at the end of the day, good defense wins championships. All right. My final pointer for the 2019-2020 season is the relegated teams. Why I chose the relegated teams. We at the beginning of this season, we were wondering if, for example, Norwich City were here to stay. We saw them put 4 past Manchester City, who were the reigning champions. Manchester City plays brilliant football, don't get me wrong. And then this team from the championship comes in and scores 4 on the champions. It makes you wonder somewhat, but in the end, I think Norwich City started off too quickly. They were out the blocks too fast, and the English Premier League is a marathon, not a sprint. In the end, they have some good players. They have Cantwell, which is home born and bred. They have Buendia, good talent as well. They have Tim Krul. I think Tim Krul will stay with them because he's at the back end of his career, but Buendia, Cantwell, I think these players will leave because they're Premier League quality players. They impressed me on most occasions that I got the opportunity to watch their games, and yeah, that's that for Norwich City. Not much to say really. My second team, Bournemouth. I think Eddie Howe got it all wrong in that he wants to play scintillating football all the time. Not all the time scintillating football wins you games, right? And you should be able to prioritize what is more significant, what is more important for the club, right? Playing great football, wonderful on the ice, but at the end of the day, it doesn't keep you your job. Results, the results that you gain does. So he wasn't able to change his system when the team needed it, and in the end, it cost them the English Premier League spot. You should be able, as a good manager, to switch it up when it's not working for you. We saw Antonio Conte doing it at Chelsea in the season that he won the league. He started off playing 4-3-3. It wasn't working out. He switched it up halfway in the game against Arsenal, and in the end he went on to win the title. My final pointer is Watford. Watford lost everything from the upper hierarchy, the management. Everyone up there got it wrong, and that is what cost them. Islamir Sarr, these are players that won't be playing in the championship. Well, I think probably Troy Deeney will stay, but Islamir Sarr will not be staying. I don't think Gerard Deulofeu will be staying either, because these are Premier League caliber players once more, and they will want to be playing in the English Premier League, because after all, that's where players want to be. That's where great players want to be. Until next time, Norando Brown here saying thanks for tuning into Halftime. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the love, the support, and we ask that you turn that notification button on, because we will be providing reviews on the Champions League game, and come next season, Darius Boris will be back with us. All right?